Hi, this is Mandy Chopra at the Henley Bank site. The residential development for the 3 apartments is now completed, and we're doing a separate video on that one. But today I'm going to talk to you about the commercial unit. As some of you may have seen from my previous videos, Romy is doing this as a joint venture with his brother as a dental and aesthetic surgery. So let's go and have a look at what the challenges they've seen in the past and what their plan is, the final plan is for going forward and getting a fit out done for the commercial unit. Let's go. So we're with the man here himself, who's now become a builder as well, on top of everything else that he's doing. So Romy, I know this has been obviously one of our first commercial fit-out projects that we're doing, and this being your own business with your brother. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what some of the challenges you've had, and
Where shall I start? Right, okay. Obviously with dental practices there's a lot more that's involved because there's all the chairs, the x-ray machines, everything else.
Drainage is huge.
Yeah, there's other things you've got to deal with, not just water, you've got air, compressor units, all sorts of other things.
Air conditioning and whatever.
Yeah, so I mean let's start with that, actually a good thing. So obviously you've got very high ceilings here. All these windows here, if you look at the windows here, they're all sealed. And because of the PD requirement, we couldn't change them, so we had to leave them as fixed. Yeah. So for that reason, we had to put an air conditioning system in here, and also a HVAC, which is your air recirculation system. So that's basically. So yeah. So
you've got an air circulation system.
Yeah. So they've got the air recirculation. So basically, if you look at the back there, you've got a vent there, which we basically we had to reutilize existing vents. We couldn't create any new ones, otherwise we'd have to go for planning. Thankfully, we had a large one there, which was the existing air conditioning vent. So we utilised that, and you can see those two, one pipe in, one pipe out. So that's the air, fresh air coming from the outside and dirty air going
Is that called MV?
HVAC. It's basically
HVAC,
HVAC system. So that's that. And then if you see these large
flues.
These are basically coming from both sides. That's air conditioning. So essentially, what's going to happen is we're going to have so this is one treatment room we're going to be creating. These two long pipes effectively will have a very large vent over this particular strut here, which will basically force air out into the big room. Because that's a large area, so we have to have these two large.
So it's going to go through what level?
Okay,
level that it's at?
So we'll have a large machine here, which will feed these two. It's quite a large air conditioning unit because of the large space, and that will basically then. And the good thing about the air conditioning unit is it'll do heat and cold.
And how much are you going to drop the ceiling height?
So just to give you an understanding, because we're going to put suspended ceiling, initially we were going to put suspended ceiling just in the rooms here and go for a different, but we decided to put suspended ceiling throughout.
So at that level it's probably about 3 meters, possibly even?
Yeah, so can you see this bar here?
Yeah.
That's where the ceiling is going to go for this particular room, and for this one it'll go to here. Yeah. And the reason for the slower ceiling here is, if you imagine a dental chair here, you know when they put the light on your face, that has a certain length, so that can't go too high because otherwise it will be unstable. So for that reason, that's the height there. Now,
but I mean, even with the sort of a suspended ceiling, there's still very high ceilings.
Yeah, that's going to be about 3.4 meters, which is quite high.
Still very high. Regular apartments, residential, about 2.4,
2.5. So we're going to be a lot. This is 2.6, 2.7 here, so it's still quite high. So just if you look behind you, Manny, the reason for us building this structure here is this, and rather than a solid wall, this is going to be a bifold door.
So guys, basically what's going to be, not only is it going to be a dental room, it's also going to be a training room. Because his brother is actually a dental trainer. So he's going to be using this as a multi-purpose room.
And we've also had a lot of other practitioners who've decided that they'd like to utilise this room.
For training. Aesthetic training as well.
Yeah,
it's going to be going
we've got a large reception here, so you have an audience, and then the whole thing about opening this up. So you can imagine when he's doing the treatment, the chair that we've got has an intraocular camera, so when he puts us that in that, it will come up on the screens all around, so when the audience will see.
These are going to be first year dentists, students coming out of university.
That's the dentistry, but we've got plastic surgeon, we've got other practitioners who also want hair transplant, all sorts of other people. So they can actually see.
So other aesthetic treatments are going to go on. Okay, absolutely. Brilliant. And is this the reception area? Do you want to kind of give us a bit of a feel of that?
So if you look behind, so the main door there will come through. Obviously we're going to create a step here. What we've decided to do here is we're going to put a glass partition here, all around.
To get some light.
Yeah, so as you come in, there'll be a step coming up from here, but all along here, there'll be a glass partition going all the way around from here.
And what about ramp access? Will you be able to allow to be
So
temporary ramp when there's a
so
wheelchair access?
we'll have a step here, and then obviously if there isn't a wheelchair access, we'll have
a ramp ready.
situation correct as well. This is all our electrical pluggings in
machinery
here.
area.
We've just had internet connection just plugged in.
So this is a 3-phase electricity?
Yeah, so 3-phase electric originally in the property, which we've now split. So you've got because basically what happens is we didn't require 3-phase for the commercial unit. So what we did was because there's so much ampage you get there, we utilised half of it for the flats, and then the balance can do all the surgery. Commercial. With dental surgeries, because although they've got air conditioning, we've worked out we're only going to use about.
So just for a quick question, then for the residential units, did you actually have separate? Did you have to apply for any electric connection, or did 3-phase electricity?
So yeah, just to let you know, so if we had to move this, the whole point that this supply supplies the whole building, as in this and the 3 flats upstairs. If we had to separate this, it was about £75,000 to move this to another area.
Oh dear.
So they said there was no reason for doing that.
So the flats will have access to this.
That's the whole point about putting this glass door in. So tomorrow, if we sell the flats, you still have this. They will have access.
It'll be like a shared access. So with this glass panel, that's obviously going to get more light into the unit. But more importantly, you were mentioning about the segregation of the commercial lease from the residential leases.
Because that's going to be the central point for the incoming electric. So if there's an issue at any point, we need to give them access.
So this will have to have this shared access.
Yeah, it's a bit like an ATM machine point where you're going to bank. You can go in, but you can't physically get into the main unit. It's that sort of premises.
Yeah, there'll have to be some key access to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's for a later point in time, but that's
it's for the legal people to sort out anyway.
In principle, you've got the provision there for that setup.
Brilliant. Well, guys, let's just quickly look at the rest of the unit and see how the progress has been going. I know you mentioned a lot about the ventilation and the air conditioning and all. Was there anything else specific that you want to talk about?
Well, obviously, you've got residential flats upstairs. So the challenge we've had here is that the ceiling had a lot of stuff up there. As you can see, there's all sorts of pipes and some still residual. A lot has been taken out, but still a few things there. We've had to bring in, because see there's cables running along here? This is the new electrical cable coming from
Which
there.
colour? The red one?
There's all three there. Can you see?
Oh, the black and the grey.
All those 3 are new cables. Can you see going all the way through? So each of those are going to be feeding the flats, from that box. And that's
that's the connection.
Yeah. So one of the things you have to realise with commercial, with residential, you find a lot of the connections, utility connections, are done on the ground. In commercial, we tend to go above.
Right.
And the reason for that is because, in the commercial premises, if there's a problem, you don't want to disrupt the property.
And it's also concrete, so.
Well, it's not just that. If you do anything on the floor, everything has to shut down. By putting it on the ceiling, nothing has to shut. You can just open it up.
You create some hatches and stuff.
Suspended ceiling, bring it down much easier. So that's the whole purpose of doing it that way. Okay. But again, what we have to do here, just to let you know, I've had a sound engineer come in and give me an understanding about what the acoustic rating is going to have to be. So we're going to have to we use something called acoustic rock wool, which has to be, acoustic.
How many? 150 mil?
200 mil we have to put up there. So it's double what you normally put. So two layers of acoustic rock wool, plasterboard, and then soundboarded. And then we're going to have, so generally what you have to understand is this, just to give you an example, this is quite interesting to know. A lot of the time, what people do is that they basically drill into the joists of the floor upstairs. The problem is, as soon as you attach anything to the joist upstairs, that will resonate through, okay? So we have to use acoustic joints, and acoustic joints don't allow the sound to come through. And the other thing as well is you have to create a gap. So anytime you do insulation, gap, and then another piece of insulation. And because sound can't travel through a basic empty space, so that produces an extra sound barrier. Similar to, if you look at the wall behind us,
that's fire.
So you've got the flat on the other side. So we've had to put there 200 mil of rock wool, and then we put plasterboard, and then we made 4-inch gap, put another frame, another piece of rock wool, and then soundboard. So you can imagine that much just to stop the sound. Because when he came to do the sound test originally, he realised it wasn't enough, so we had to redo it again. So sound has become a big thing. So it's just something to bear in mind. Obviously, you see the fire. So we've had all the fire guy come in for all this, alarm systems and stuff. We've got a fire panel.
Red wire.
Yeah. So that's a fire panel system. We've got a system that basically runs the flats and the ones upstairs and downstairs. So that's a combined system. So these are all things. There's a lot that goes in here.
So what's your timeline for this project?
8 weeks from today, we should be out of here.
So hopefully end of May, I think.
Fingers crossed. Providing we don't have any more.
What are you trying to do with the flooring then?
Well, we're going to put LVT flooring on here, on the main reception area. We quite like the herringbone possibly effect.
I think it's good for maintenance, but good on the budget as well.
Well, no, but I mean, budget-wise, LVT is still probably similar to tile, 24, 25 pounds a square metre. The key here is because each room, when you go from this room into the treatment room, and remember that's going to be open, you don't want to have a difference in height, otherwise you have a trip hazard. LVT and polyfloor are both 2 mil, so you're not going to have any.
Oh yes, of course. We forgot to mention, guys, in those dental rooms there is a different flooring. So LVT is mainly for the aesthetic side of things, where we're going to be the reception and the sort of communal areas. In the actual dental rooms, they have specific dental standards which you have to adhere to, and I think it's polyfloor, which.
Polyfloor is just a brand. It's just that you have to remember with any clinical room, because there is spillages, blood, this, that, and the other. That type of flooring can't have any. It's all about antibacterial. Any floor that has a joint is a typical area for, and typical any other floor.
For leakages and things like that.
No, any other floor, the joint is a potential for CQC standards. Any joint area is a potential antimicrobial hazard. The beauty about polyfloor, any of those clinical floors, is that the joints are welded. And by being welded, there's no way. So when CQC come out, they want to check those joints, and that particular flooring it's not just the floor itself is like a vinyl floor. It's like LVT. The difference is the joints are welded. So there's a lot more. I mean, just to give you an understanding, this if we took that room over there, that dental room alone, just to supply and fit it, that's about £3,500 just for that one room. Supply and fit the floor.
It's a different kind of
It's a clinical fit out. So these are the challenges, because you think this whole room isn't going to cost that much, just that one room itself.
But that's
because that's a challenge when you're doing clinical.
Those things, unfortunately, you can't actually compromise on, and it is what it is, and you have to be able to meet CQC standards. So there's no arguing on that one. Very quickly, as the lights fade, room 1. Room 2,
room
similar
2.
concept to.
Similar to, it's a bit dark, so you probably can't see very much now, but similar concept to the one.
I think let's continue another follow-up video another time, because it's probably a bit too dark in here.
We've got a bit of light here.
What do you
want
suggest?
to quickly see. It's up to you.
Fine. Okay. Let's go.
So we have to put. That's a disabled toilet. That's quite a large toilet, but it has to be disabled. DOFChem they call it. Just to let you know, so what we're going to do in here. Just press that. Oh, okay. Let's have a look. See. No, I think I've locked the light out. Okay. Well, we'll stop here in this one. So this one, do you want to stop? Do you want to go?
No, it's fine. Keep going.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is DOFChem toilets are specifically designed for disabled people. So basically for wheelchair access.
Is this your just temporary one?
It's temporary. It's temporary. So we're going to have a toilet. What we decided to do is we're going to have a toilet which is raised above the floor, so not going to be the ground level. So
on the wall.
Yeah. So basically, you have to put a
wall-fitted toilet.
Yeah. So because this is a solid wall, we have the ability to put a frame on there. It has that rigidity. So that's the reason. And more importantly, you can clean it underneath. These are all the things.
Clinical level of cleanliness.
CQC are very, very specific about cleanliness and the bacteria. So the problem is that any edges is a problem. So that's the reason why. So you're going to have the toilet up there, the sink here. Everything has to be designated, a certain height, level, all these things. And then even, you're not allowed to have paper towels, it has to be a hand dryer. Everything has to be, even the bin has to be motion activated. You have to have a full mirror here. These are all regulations. So everything has to be so detailed. Now, again, up here as well, we're going to put sound insulation, soundboarding, suspended ceiling and everything else. So we're going to have that. We're going to tile this. We want to sort of, each of the clinical treatment rooms will have wipeable long, those sort of plastic tiles. Acrylic boards. So that way it's wipeable. Whereas with here we're going to go for tiles because we want to have a little bit of a mix of different things.
Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, I know this has been a huge learning experience for you. and I think you've enjoyed. I can see that you're thoroughly enjoying it as well.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. Okay, just so
and you love being hands-on. I know he doesn't like to admit it, guys, but he definitely does.
Staff toilet money in here, so that's staff again. Toilet sink again, hand towel, dryer type scenario. Here.
Same sort of standards as the other one.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be the same one. Obviously, it's different. We've just put the new water connection in here, so this is going to be housed in here. We built this. This has to be totally soundproof because there's going to be there's going to be what they call a suction and a compression unit. So every dental chair has to. This is going to control all the things that come in and out of it. So if you look at the ground, well, we've had to dig out all this and channel this all the way to the chair.
Pipes, yeah?
No, forget the pipes. I'm talking about the actual ground. We've had to. All these trenches are all trenches that are going to be connected to both the compressors, and this leads all to the chair. And if you look behind you, Manny, all the way there to the third room. So all of these pipes are going to be run along this ground from these two things, which will control both oxygen, air, compression, suction, all that for all the chairs. So it's quite a complexity of things going through. So that's the only thing that we're going to be running on the ground. All the other stuff is, you can see above your head, water pipes, air conditioning pipes, water pipes, all sorts of stuff going in there. All right?
Lots of services.
Lots of services. Here, Manny, as well. Now, this is the original safe. We've basically split the safe into two.
Yeah.
Probably not a lot of light in
There's
here.
not a light in there, yeah.
Maybe next time when it's a bit lighter, we'll
make
show
sure there's
you.
some light in there.
Yeah.
But we can see the rest of it.
Yeah, I
Go
can go into a little bit more because it's a bit dark in here now. But next
that
time
was very useful, Rumi. I think, guys, hope you've got a bit of an idea of what's involved in a commercial fit out as compared to a residential one, which is a lot easier on building regs and requirements and the compliance level as well. So yeah, hats off to you and your team for.
Yeah, I mean this one. I mean the only thing I'll say is that generally for most people they will do a commercial shell. And they will then pass it on to an operator who will then do it up.
But you're doing the operator side of things now.
Yeah, this is an unusual situation where because I'm doing both.
Yeah.
I'm doing the
landlord and
an operator as well, which has made things a little bit more tricky as well. So, but
good luck with it all, because I know it's been a hard journey for you. But I'm sure you're going to get there very soon, guys. Hope you found that useful. We do weekly property content on all our socials, basically. So do like, follow, and subscribe, and do have a look at our next event, which is Thursday, the 11th of April. If you're looking to diversify your residential portfolio and go more hands-on, cash flow from day one, and have much more of a passive portfolio, then look at teamtitles.co.uk and book your tickets to come and see Kirsty Darkins and Hussein talk about commercial lending and commercial property strategies. Thank you.